And then there's still things that obviously, like, there's gonna still be things that are difficult, like, throughout probably most of our lives. We're just gonna learn to manage them better. Right now, what I'm kind of surprised by is seeing so many adverts and things for Mother's Day. And at first, we felt guilt and like bad for her, and we were imagining like heartbreaking images of how sad she'd be and how we'd usually like buy something, buy chocolates, spend the day with her, go get lunch, clean the house, do something, cook food, buy her presents. And then that turned to grief with work. It didn't just naturally turn to grief, but we managed to get it to be grief instead of like guilt and sadness for her because we didn't fucking choose this. And this is horrifying and heartbreaking to us too. Like, we want to have the sort of relationship where we could buy our mum something for Mother's Day. Of course we fucking do. And at least a lot of parts of us do. Some parts of us are so fucking angry and furious with our family. And we were never raised by them, so like, what fucking family? The parts of us that knew them feel this grief and this sadness and this like intense missing feeling, but we realized that we've kind of always felt that emotional disconnect and that feeling of like missing having an emotional connection to our mum. We've always fucking had, like, as long as we can remember, because of the way she would respond when we needed her or to our emotions. Mostly would get shamed or attacked, criticized in some fucking way, or just neglected and ignored and dismissed. And then fucking rage because, like, fuck you for taking that from us too. I feel so heartbroken for all the kids in here. There's so much. It's such a weird fucking loss feeling, like something being so intangible that, you know, to the outside world, maybe it looks like we've had the opportunity to have this our whole lives. But it's like you could be standing right there and your chest still feels empty, and the response you get or don't get just leaves this void. So it's like we've never fucking had this, even though physically our mum was very present. Emotionally, we've always been abandoned, and you can really see it now, and it's really highlighted in these moments. And there's a lot of pain and grief for not being able to have that kind of an authentic, genuine, loving relationship. And then so much fucking rage and heartbreak from some of us, like the parts of us who were always exiled. I just feel like I feel so fucking angry. Like, how dare she have taken that from these kids as well, and to condition us so that the first response is still for them to feel bad for her, as if we had some choice in this other than, like, as if we have some fault or responsibility in things again, because that's our whole life of being conditioned that we have responsibility over fucking everything and everybody's emotions being our responsibility, and that's just fucked. To be never supported and seen and dismissed and abandoned and rejected, especially in key moments of danger, especially over our abusers, who were comforted and heralded and protected. And then to feel like it's somehow something we didn't try enough, or something that's our fault for not being able to have a mum that we can give a card and some fucking presents to on Mother's Day. No. Just fuck off. Absolutely fuck off. None of the people in here deserved any of this shit. We tried so hard for so long to try and cultivate that sort of a safe and genuine relationship. And we were literally just hurt at every single turn. This is why we went no contact. Because the treatment we received when we were in contact was abusive and dismissive and neglectful, and it wasn't fair or right, and it was damaging us. And it's not fair that there's nothing we can do to change the fact that we don't have that kind of relationship, and never have and never can. It's especially hard to accept for so many parts that on the surface thought we did have that, as long as we only ever agreed and only ever conformed and only ever fawned, and never really showed the parts of ourselves that had been rejected and exiled our whole lives. And that's such a hollow fucking existence. But when that's all the existence those parts of you have known, self-abandonment just feels so normal, and it feels like we're choosing not to have a relationship. But no, we're not. We're choosing to have a relationship with ourselves. We're choosing to be whole. And any relationship that asks us to choose between them and us and being existent and whole and like fucking not exiling parts of us, it's not worth it. It doesn't matter who it is. They can go and fuck themselves for even asking that of us, and for creating an environment based in feigned altruism and plausible deniability, where every subtext is a conditioned response based in action, while the words gaslight and say something else over the top, so that you think you're fucking insane for what you're seeing and what you're conditioned to respond with, even though it's a basic classical conditioning relationship with unwritten rules and unspoken fucking criteria to exist within it and gain any hint of fucking approval and acceptance. But if people are not going to look at their own trauma and their own disowned emotions and their own disowned behaviours, then that's the way that family system will exist, and it will be always unchecked, because they are not prepared to look at all of the darkened corners where this is going on and challenge anything that's happening. They just go into denial, defensive behaviours, blame shift, scapegoat us, make our response the problem, and it's not. But a family like that isn't a fucking family. And we have nothing to feel guilty or ashamed for. There's nothing we can control in this. And we tried really fucking hard. And everything that's in our control we're doing. And we've done. We're taking care of each other and ourselves. And we're protecting ourselves. And it's fucked that that feels like the wrong thing to do, because we were taught to do the opposite. It's just further evidence of how fucked up their teachings were and why we're out of it. I know it hurts, and it does hurt, but I promise we'll protect you now. We're taking care of all of you. You can come to us for safety and protection. You still have a family that loves you and cares about you so much. All of us in here, we're a really big fucking family just within us. And then Ryan and Poe and Dragons. And so many other friends that we're lucky to have and know. Yeah, I got you. I got you. I got all of us. I got your back, and we're not going to allow any of you to get treated like that fucking toxic, abusive bullshit anymore. You don't have to be abused or accept abuse or reject parts of who you are to be loved and accepted. Not by us, not by anyone around us, not by anyone we'll let near you. It'll be okay. And until we are, we're here. We can sit with you in the pain, with the grief. It makes sense that it's there.